Welcome to the Avial
Litti
Pohe podcast, where we are stirring up the perfect mix of flavors
from every corner of India, serving you hot takes
and well-seasoned debates about all things every day.
Hello and welcome everyone to the first ever episode of the Avial Litti Pohe podcast. I'm your co-host Pohe, and I'm now going to introduce a friend of mine, Avial. Let's find out from her that why we are named the Avial Litti Pohe podcast.
Hello, everybody. I am Avial, and it feels very surreal. Not gonna lie, I am having all the jitters. My heart is beating really fast, and I'm trying not to concentrate on that. Like a lot of people might know where Avial comes from. It is a dish from the Indian state of Kerala, and I am from Kerala. Why avial? Well, people might think that it's my favorite dish. It is one of my favorite dishes. Not gonna lie. Before that, what is avial? It is a side dish in main courses, and it is one of the integral parts of the ever so famous sadhyas that we have in Kerala for Onam mostly. But we do have sadhyas for our marriages as well, mainly for Hindu marriages. Avial is a sabzi, if I have to translate that to Hindi, and it is made up of almost the original ones were actually made of 12 to 13 vegetables. It's a mix of vegetables with coconut oil, and very many spices. One might think that because it is from Kerala and we are a South Indian state, that it would be very spicy, but it is one of those dishes which is a little on the blander side of things. And it is also one of the first dishes that is served in a sadhya. And if you look at the history, so mythologically, they say that when the Pandavas were out on exile and Bhima was undercover as a cook in one of the king's court, suddenly there were a lot of guests. They wanted a dish along with the food that they were having, and there weren't many dishes left, many things left. So they were like, okay, let's just have whatever is left over. We're just going to make a dish out of that. And that is how avial came about. But there's also the history from the southern state of Travancore, which is Trivandrum today, or Thiruvananthapuram, which is that somewhere along the same lines that the king had a lot of guests and they wanted a dish, and they were short of food, and they had a lot of things in leftovers in the kitchen, and they were like, okay, let's just use those vegetables, and we will make a dish out of that. There is a lot of history, and geographically also it changes from area to area in Kerala, and it is also famous in the states of Tamil Nadu and Mangalore as well. But I guess I am blabbering a bit too much now, and I will hand it over to Litti to go on to tell us a little more about why she's named Litti and more about it.
Thank you, Avial. So, hi, I am Litti. I don't think that there is much to explain why I have been named Litti, because I come from the state जहाँ पे लिट्टी and chokha is the staple food. And litti is one of those dishes, or you can say it's one of those staple foods. The fact that it is liked by so many people, the fact that it is affordable for so many people, the popularity that it has today, as back as the times of Magad, empire. At that time, from somewhere around 600 400 BC, if I'm not wrong, From that time, it this is a dish that was actually for working class people, for people who used to work on field and who could actually afford something which was nutritious. So litti, as you know, that it is made from sattu, and sattu is now is considered to be superfood because it is a rich source of protein, and litti is fondly eaten with chokha. Chokha is made from brinjal. So it's like a little flavorful. We add onions and all of that. So yeah, I come from the state called Bihar, and where litti is extremely popular. And now I think everybody, I think around the country, everybody loves to have litti. At least that's what people tell me, that they really relish like litti. They love to have litti. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Letty. Hi everyone. As you know, I'm Pohe. And once during a discussion, someone had asked me that if you could eat only one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I didn't even think twice before saying that pohe would be the dish I would eat for the rest of my life. And even today, I am firm on that answer. So it's very apt that I am named Pohe. As my friend Aviel stated, the roots of pohe also or are also rooted in a obscure little book you may or may not have heard of. It's called Mahabharat. I don't know if you have heard of it. In that, the story goes like this: Sudama, who was a childhood friend of Shri Krishna, when they grew up, Sudama was very poor, and Shri Krishna became the king of his empire, his kingdom. So when one day he wanted to go and meet Shri Krishna, and he didn't have anything at his place to take to the king as a gift or as a something to present to him. So his wife suggested that one of the things which we have at home is pohe, is a bowl of pohe. So he packed it up and took it to the king as a gift. Now, you may not think of this as a very valuable gift, but because Shri Krishna thought of this as something coming from his childhood friend, and he found it to be very important because it's the thought that counts. So that is
Yes.
like the oldest ever mention you can find of pohe. Now let's not get into if whether Mahabharata is mythology or history, but that is the oldest ever uh, reference you get. In more recent history, there is some people say that पोहे तो एमपी से होते हैं, मध्य प्रदेश के होते हैं. So to settle that debate, let me tell you that the Shindes and the Holkars who moved from Maharashtra, the erstwhile Maharashtra, to the MP. So Shindes then became known as Sindhyas. You might have heard that name through one or two politicians that are famous these days. They settled in Gwalior, and the Holkars took charge of Indore. So Indori pohe, that is where they come. That is where the Indori pohe come from. Pohe
Well,
basically is a Marathi word. You might have heard of this dish as poha. In Marathi, poha is a singular thing. We don't eat just one poha. So in Marathi, it's called pohe. And as far as the types of pohe are concerned, there are like I can name 100 types of pohe off the top of my list.
I just want to add on to what you're saying. It's very interesting thing that you just talked about how the culture of food moves from one place to, like, people, the emperor, the empire, they take away the culture from one place to another. This is something interesting that I had read somewhere. There's a dish called dal bati in Rajasthan, and it looks very much similar to litti, in shape and everything, except that inside the wheat, the dough balls, there is sattu in litti. But there it's just aate ka bati in Rajasthan. And interestingly, it was at the same time that both the dishes were, kind of, what, for the lack of better word, I would use the word invented, probably. Both these, regions of the country, like somewhere in Magad and somewhere in the western part of the country, both these dishes, which look exactly very much similar, and had a very similar way of, cooking and getting, preparing it.
Consume. Yeah.
it was at the same time, so I had read it somewhere. So that is extremely interesting to know that, the things, the food and everything, it also gets, ये भी यहाँ से वहाँ transfer होता है when we travel, the emperors and the kingdom and the culture, the civilization, it goes.
I have a point to add on. I am one of those very rare people, I feel, who has never in my life had litti, or for
What
that
are you
matter.
saying?
Yes,
Same here, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Same
yeah,
here. So
actually, and it's very
Oh
funny
my God.
because yeah, it's very funny because for like half of my life, like at least a decade, I have actually lived in Calcutta. But also talking about the geographical side of things, I was like, wait, I love avial, but I want to know more about it. So while I was speaking to my family about it, there was a very surprising thing that I came to know about is how I don't know if this is absolutely true or not, but at least what my sister told me was that the northern side of Kerala actually doesn't have avial, and they do not prepare avial. They learnt it from the central and southern part of the state. And also how avial is prepared in like different regions of Kerala itself is very different. For example, from where I am from the district called Pathanamthitta. So there we use tamarind for the khattapan of the dish. Or there are people who will use mango, raw mango, for example. But for example, in Thrissur, which is another district in Kerala, they use curd in place of tamarind. And it also differs from region to region. Like some regions, if you go, avial is very kind of dry. In some regions, avial is more on the mishmash kind of format, and that differs from place to place. And also it also comes about because of the different vegetables that are used. So for example, yam is one of the main, or arbi is one of the main vegetables that is used in the dish, and that brings about the starch and the wetness to the
Hmm.
dish. So
Yeah.
that is something that was really surprising for me. So
And I think
now,
that's same for pohe as well. I think isn't it the same thing? Like it changes. Like so many people use so many other things in pohe. Like you were just mentioning, there's so many types of pohe. So I think that
yeah.
happens.
So
I think.
the pan India, you can say the image of pohe that you have, that yellow looking thing which may have peanuts and potatoes and uh, onion.
kanda.
That's like just one type of pohe. When I said 100 types of pohe, I was
Yeah.
calculating all this as one. So your Indori pohe or whatever, Ratlami pohe or whatever, all that thing is just one type. I'm counting that as one type.
Oh,
Other than
that's
that,
interesting.
within Maharashtra itself, there are like different types of pohe that you make,
Types.
and
Yeah.
most of them don't even look yellow. Some of them are white in color. Some of them are sweet. There is something called as
Yeah.
doodh pohe, which is like a quick
Yeah.
breakfast which we have, which is like a breakfast cereal for Maharashtrians. We
This is,
just make,
yes,
we just take hot milk, add some sugar to it, dissolve it, and add pohe to it, and eat it like that. So you can say it's a Maharashtrian cereal.
for Mallus, we have a similar thing that we have, which is called aval. Pohe in Malayalam is aval. So aval nanachid is basically what he just described. That you put milk and sugar, and we also add jaggery instead of sugar sometimes, and we add banana in it and eat it. And sometimes it's given as prasad also in temples. So it's very interesting how, like, the same things, we're all very different, but we're all same, unity in diversity.
All our ancestors looked at rice and I don't know, they were angry or something, so they thought of smashing it and flattening it. So now we got flattened rice. I don't know. That is what
Yeah,
pohe is essentially. So
but
Yes,
dude, in
indeed.
some parts I have heard people calling chivda as pohe direct. Like that itself is pohe. Like, but
Yes.
like we in Bihar we call it chivda. It comes like chivda, and then with chivda you prepare whatever the preparation is, then that is called pohe.
That is reverse in
Yeah.
Maharashtra. We get pohe, and out of that we make chivda.
Yeah,
So
you make chura.
we dry
Yeah.
roast the pohe and make a tempering out of rice seeds and peanuts, fried chunks of dried coconut, all that masala we add,
Yeah.
and we pour it on top of dry roasted pohe, and then that dry preparation which we can store for like up to 3 months, that is called chivda.
Mhm. Mm.
Okay.
Pohacha chivda we call
Yeah.
it, which is like chivda made out of pohe. And if you go to the Vidarbha side of Maharashtra, which is your Nagpur, Chandrapur, and all that,
Nagpur.
there you get something called tarri pohe. Tarri is like a curry or a gravy kind of a
Yeah.
thing, which is served alongside pohe, and you can pour it on top of the pohe and then have it. So, which is a different
Yes.
type again, which is very spicy, red
Wow.
colored gravy, which you eat with
I
pohe.
would
So,
like
pohe is a
I would
very
love to have this.
versatile thing, and I've always maintained this that uh, one of the most important memories we have are from our childhoods. Generally, as human beings, are around food. It can be about a
Mm.
specific food, or it can be about a festival that has different foods as part of the celebration of that festival. So, I have always thought that food makes a very big part of our formative years. So for me,
Yeah.
one such, staying on top of topic of my name, one such dish that my mom used to make is called dadpe pohe. In Marathi, dadpan means pressure, putting pressure. So dadpe pohe is pohe that have that have been put under pressure. So how it works is you take raw pohe, which are your by the way, there are two types of pohe in Marathi households: zade pohe and pattal pohe, which is thick and thin poha.
Mm.
So you take the
Mm.
thin
Yes.
pohe and then you soak it for some time in a mixture of coconut milk and coconut water. And then we add chopped coconut, grated coconut, chopped coriander, chopped onions, all those kind of things to it, which is different from your normal pohe. You don't cook this; it's served cold only. And on top of that, you pour tempering made out of or a tadka made out of your hing and rai ke dane and all that, and you with a generous topping of freshly grated coconut and a squeeze of lime juice.
It sounds like a very summer dish. Like
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it
yeah. No,
cold?
it's
Is it
no.
served
It's served
cold?
at room temperature. It's not cooked as
Room
such, but
temperature.
it's not frozen on.
Okay.
It's not refrigerated also. It's served at room temperature. It's a more than a nashta. It's like an evening snack kind of a dish. So around 5 o'clock, you eat that
Mm.
with chai, with a
Mm.
garam pyali of chai.
Yes. So listening to you, I feel like you are the only person who is actually justifying your namkaran because you have so many stories and so many things to say about pohe, and you actually love pohe a lot. Like I said, avial is one of my favorite dishes, but it is not every, I mean, something that I would eat every day and any day. I would also like to say, like, I feel like the name avial for me is a good choice because, but avial is also synonymous and it is also used as a word which means mixture. So I feel like I am aptly named because although I am originally from Kerala, I have been brought up in different parts of the country. One of those is Sikkim. And when we were little and we would be traveling from all the way from Sikkim to Kerala, it would be a very, very long journey. So obviously, we would be traveling by road first because we would be living in the hills. So you have to come to the foothills to get the trains, and the trains would take 2.5 days. So it used to be a huge thing for us to, like, just all of these Mallu families together, Malayali families together, living in the hills, coming down to the foothills. And when we would have our winter vacations, especially because winter would be very long for us because it would be snowing and it's very cold in Sikkim. So we would have like 2 months long holidays and we would go to Kerala for those whole 2 months. So all of our families would travel together. And that time, all of our mothers would make sure that all families would make one dishes. All these mums would make sure that they make all of these snacks as well. And I remember my mom, she used to make all of these savory snacks like murk, which is chakli, as everybody else knows. Then she would make, I don't know if you, I call it diamond because the thing looks like a diamond. I don't know what is it exactly called.
Is it
It's a savory thing.
salty?
It is, yeah, it can be salty also, but sometimes it has a covering, like a sugar covering on it.
Yeah, we call it nimki in Bihar.
Yeah, namkeen
Something
jo.
like a
uh,
Shankar Padi. We call it Shankar Padi in Marathi. Yeah.
and then my mom would also make something which we call in Malayalam called madara seva. So basically it's like noodles. So basically it's made out of basin and it's fried and then it is put in sugar syrup, and you can have it like because I am a person who doesn't have a sweet tooth. I would be like, okay, I don't want the sugared ones, I want the namkeen ones. So she would keep aside the namkeen ones for me to have. And then obviously, like, she doesn't make it anymore, but she would make what we Malayalis call mixture, which is basically mixture. And how mixture in English becomes
Dal moat.
mixture. Yes,
Yeah.
dal moot, which is
For our more pan Indian viewers, she's talking about namkeen or farsan. So yeah, continue.
yeah. So she would make all of these, and one by one we would be like, because 2.5 days is a long period of time, and you have to remember this is way back in, like, the late 90s and early 2000s. So you would not be going in AC 3 tier or 2 tier. You would be going in like normal general compartments and things like that. And it would be so amazing because it would become our house, so much so that after 2.5 days, when you get down on the platform of your station, your body would be still moving because you're sitting in the train for 2.5 days and you've been moving all of this while.
So, I would say, like, when every one of us were introducing our, where our names, I did not say that litti is my favorite food because it is not. It's I I like to have it like maybe I would be okay having it maybe once a month. It's not like I hate it or something, but it's not one of my favorites. But interestingly, there's something called sattu ka paratha. It's basically same. Now you just make it paratha, not in a a dough form. That I love. There's something wrong with me that I am not that fond of litti, but when you convert it into paratha, I love it. Apart from that, if I go back to my like childhood memories, there are two three things that that just it's there in my memory. There is one thing, I don't know you guys have had it or not. I keep talking about it to people. Jaldi jaldi mein when I had to rush to school or माँ को जल्दी से कुछ बना कर देना है, तो there used to be something like चीनी का पराठा where
Yeah.
chini filled in paratha, and when you put it on tawa, it
Tava.
becomes very much caramelized and it tastes so good. So that is something मेरे को लगता है बचपन के बाद I have never had it. Okay, and apart from that, even now I love dal pitti, which is like basically dal roti, but it's like a little more spicy and it's cooked in cooker. So even now, like I can have it every day, every night I can
Is
have
the
dal pitti as one of my dinners. But I would also like to bring in one more thing, which
Sorry
I think it's
to
our
cut you in, Litti. Is the paratha made in the cooker, or is the filling made in the cooker?
no, it's not a paratha. It's basically aate ko hi, whatever you convert it into roti generally,
Mhm.
but you're not making it in the form of roti. Small, maybe like flour or something. You make shapes and then you
Okay.
put it inside dal. Either you can cook it, मतलब दाल साथ साथ बनता रहे या बची हुई दाल के अंदर डाल दो वैसे
अच्छा,
शेप में बनाकर, एंड देन कुकर कर दो, एंड देन तड़का लगा दो हींग
अच्छा.
एंड
अच्छा, it's like a soupy thing.
yeah, it's like you have to
अच्छा,
have it with
You can
spoon
say
and
that.
that.
spoon.
But I also want to bring one more dish. I think tab se we've been discussing only about vegetarian dishes. So there's one dish that I want to mention, which is it's my mom's signature dish. It's a very typical, preparation of machi fish.
Mhm.
It's like it's prepared in Bihar, very much influenced from Bengal, prepared in garlic mustard paste, like a very traditional way of cooking fish. And interestingly, I always thought growing up that I love chicken. Chicken is my favorite, or things like that. I always thought that, but growing up now, I always like sometimes when I've not eaten anything non-vegetarian, like I've been eating vegetarian for a very long time, it's like interestingly, it's not chicken that I crave for. It's always fish. So I always say this to my family that at the heart of it, I'm a typical East Indian person because I really love fish, especially the one cooked by my mother. It's so yum.
Yes, to add to that, even I feel the same way because I've been away from home for a while. And although, like, just like East India, South India is also staple food is fish and rice. And because when we were little, my parents would be the ones who would be like, okay, we need to eat fish because they love fish a lot. And my sister and I would be like, okay, there's too much fish, we need chicken, we love chicken. And even today, like, if you ask me, yes, potatoes and chicken, these are two things I absolutely love. And I cannot live without them. I will say that myself, that if you make me choose between the two, I will choose potatoes. Um, I cannot. Like, everybody knows this in my house also, that like अगर घर पे आलू नहीं है, I will go crazy. घर पे आलू कैसे नहीं है?
So, but
Uh,
potatoes in what form? Like, how do you like?
any form for that matter, you give me potatoes, like, especially because I have been in Calcutta for like most of my school life as well. It's really important to have potatoes, like whether if you're making fish in the Bengali form, mach
Yeah,
jhol, so
yeah.
then
Even the
you will
biryani.
have to have potatoes
Yeah.
in it. You can't, biryani mein aloo kaise nahi ho
Kaise
sakta
nahi
hai?
ho? Oh my
And
God. And
all the
so
people,
tasty. I've had it at
absolutely.
Arsalan. It's so tasty. Oh my God. It's so
Exactly.
tasty.
And if people out there are gonna come at me and say that nahi aise kaise ho sakta, please just have it once, then you will know.
Thanks for
Phir
thanks for
aloo,
giving me thanks for giving me an idea for your next birthday gift. Expect 10 kg aloo at your place.
I would actually be really very happy, not gonna lie. I would be the happiest. So aloo in any form, and like one of the staple foods that I would have after coming back from school was this. Uh, Chawal, rice, and sambar is my favorite curry under the sun. Sambar, rice, and aloo bhaja, which is basically that is Bengali. But aloo bhaja is basically aloo bhujia, or like
Yeah,
aloo just
yeah.
fried.
Avyal, I just want to say one thing, Avyal. Before, just one thing, I got reminded of something.
Yeah.
Uh, I since you've been blabbering about aloo and I feel like naming you Aloo now, but I just reminded that Mr. Prashant Kishore calls Mr. Nitish Kumar Aloo. Because apparently,
Why?
because apparently he blends with each and every political party. So
Oh
as
yes.
soon as I thought of naming you Alu, I got reminded of Nitish Kumar, and I was like, no, no.
I
Oh
I have a
my
very
God.
weird I have a very weird memory of this. Growing up, I used to watch a lot of this Sanjeev Kapoor Khana Khazana on some channel that it used to come. One day he had done a full episode of only aloo dishes, and he had started that by saying that aloo is so versatile. I want to say to aloo that aloo re aloo tera rang kaisa jisme milao us jaisa. So basically, aloo can fit in anywhere.
But yeah, coming back to what Litti was talking about, seafood. that is something that I absolutely miss as well, because when I was younger, it was like, because there was so much of fish and seafood in my house, and mostly seafood means prawns other than fishes. We would be like, okay, we want chicken, but now I miss seafood so much, and I've come to realize that prawns is one of my favorite seafoods.
Culture dictates a lot of food choices we have. Like you mentioned, both
Yeah.
of you mentioned loving fish. I come from a family where I was, you can say, forced to be a vegetarian for like the first 18 years of my life. Like my mom didn't even used to have an egg. Even an egg was too much non-vegetarian. For our listeners, I'm doing heavy air quotes here. Non-vegetarian dish, because I don't agree that eggs are non-veg. Eggs are as veg as milk. If you think milk is veg, then eggs are veg as well. But that's a different debate for a different episode. So keep listening to us. So the point
I
I was
like the
coming.
plug-in.
I grew up as a vegetarian, so-called pure vegetarian, for first 18 to 20 years of my life. Even today,
Why though?
I eat everything that is I eat everything under the sun except for humans. So if any FBI or CIA
No.
is listening to our podcast, please stay away. Uh,
But you eat our
yeah,
heads. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
think even human part is also not, left. You eat our heads.
So yeah, that is true. That is, I absolutely agree with that.
Sorry. So I started drinking with my father when I was 18, and with that came the first non-veg thing in my life, which was a chicken tikka, and that's how I was hooked. And after that, I did a degree in hotel management, where I had to cook and I had to eat everything under the sun. So that is where I initially, the first year was very difficult for me, but eventually, by the time the third year came and I graduated, I was very used to eating everything that there is to it. I stick to land animals and land birds. Don't go to the sea.
I just came to know recently, very recently, and it was a big, like, dimag poof ho jane wala moment for me. That emoji that we have in WhatsApp, is that there are a lot of people on the planet who cannot have coriander, like dhania. And I was like, what the hell? So apparently, and I know that there are, like, a lot of videos about it on the internet, but this I came to know from my colleague. We were just talking about food in general, and she told me how when she eats coriander, she tastes soap, like
Yeah.
literal soap. And I was like, you can't be, like, for real right now, because it can't be literal soap. But then apparently, like, I met other people as well who said the same thing. And I feel like this is not true in India, because evolution might have, like, helped us.
This has got something to do with a gene mutation, actually. So, thousands of
Yes.
millions of years ago, all of us humans used to hate coriander. So, if we were having this podcast 1 million years ago, we would all be saying, how are these new kids eating coriander? It's literally tastes like soap. So, some of us mutated into liking. Uh, so, we are
Yeah.
basically X-Men. We are basically X-Men.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
congratulations
We're
to us.
basically
Yeah.
mutants. Yes. Yes. So I feel like, especially because the eastern part of the world, like, not only in South Asians, but I also feel like East Asians also have a lot of coriander in their food. So I feel like because we started eating, we kind of mutated. Especially coming to India, I feel like it is very different in different parts of the country, and we're so varied. Like I said, like, when I was talking about avial itself, it is so varied. Like, it was surprising for me as well, because I was like, okay, wow, certain parts of the state doesn't have it. And every region that you move from, like every district, and I know that this is true for every state, that every region, every district's regions have different things. Every few kilometers you move, things keep changing. And I feel like it's very interesting to, like, have a look at it, have a discussion about it, because it is so rich. Like, our culture, when when it comes to food as well, it's so rich. And I feel like it has to do with the history that we come from. And it is an actual avial if you look at it. Um,
Yeah, good
so
one.
yeah.
Our country, for that matter, is one big avial.
But there's something that I want to address. I don't know if you guys would agree with it or not. But
Mhm.
there's something that there's so much of, I don't know, again, for the lack of better word, I would use the word intolerance for, simplest of things. Like India is such a diverse country. And if you look at it, हर रीजन का अपना एक स्ट्रीट फूड भी बहुत फेमस है लाइक लाइक पीपल ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट कि दिल्ली में क्या स्ट्रीट फूड मिलता है कुछ चीज़ें तो कहीं सुनी ही नहीं है लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल मूंगलेट एंड ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स जो यही सुना है विच आई हैव नॉट हर्ड ऑफ दीज थिंग्स आल्सो आउटसाइड सो दैट इज वन
Also,
बट अगेन या या
sorry, Litty, to cut you in. I want to put it in here. This might be very scandalous and people might come for me as well. But when people say that, like, Delhi has the best street food, I have lived in Delhi for a long period of time as well. I will say, I will vouch that Delhi doesn't have the best street food. That doesn't mean that I mean that Bombay has the best street food. Hands down, Calcutta has the best street food, period. Okay, continue.
I wanted to address this issue only, Avyal. That's what I wanted to say that
Yeah,
people
not
are so
contentious or
senti
controversial
about
topics at all, guys. Good one, good one.
people don't sometimes we tend to forget that taste buds are very personal. It is like
Yes.
somebody would like something and it might not even be that popular, not liked by so many people, but that somebody would like that. So I feel that it becomes so much like even about the whole puchka chaat debate ki कहाँ का ज्यादा अच्छा है पानी पूरी एंड गुपचुप एंड एवरीवेयर इट्स कॉल्ड
Golgappa.
everything, all of that. So and people debate a lot and some people might like these five kinds of pani that they give in Delhi, but coming from Bihar I have that taste bud for that kind of this thing only, and it's that simple that you have developed that sort of taste for a
Hmm.
particular thing, and it's just that एक बहुत सिंपल सी चीज है एंड ऑल बिहारी लिसनर्स हु वुड बी लिसनिंग टू इट वुड रिलेट probably that in Bihar we have rajme ki sabzi. It's very spicy. It almost like samjho uh, how you prepare a desi home prepared chicken. It's prepared like that. It's just rajma instead of that. So we have, when we say rajma chawal, that's what we mean. Because it's so spicy and chawal and so yum and all of that. Cut to when I went to college in the northern part of the country, I realized that their rajma is eaten as like a like how it should be eaten, like a dal, right? So because rajma comes under the dal family,
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
so I
legume, so
so
yeah.
they have it. Yeah, they have it like dal, like a proper little blander than little nahi, बहुत ज़्यादा blander. So so when I had it, I felt like ये क्या है? The first culture shock, ये क्या खा लिया? Rajma used to be my favorite. ये क्या हो गया? 2 साल college का, I never touched rajma. I was like ये क्या खा रहे हो? हमारे यहाँ खाओ भूल जाओगे rajma and things like so much arrogance. But somehow somehow now I have that taste. Like some days I want to have that rajma. That's what
Yes.
I'm saying, that you have everything
True.
has an importance. Everything holds that specific importance. हर हमेशा everybody does not cannot have the same taste bud, और आपको भी same चीज खाने का हमेशा मन नहीं कर. Sometimes you want to have it like that.
Yeah.
So now maybe it's also just aging that I grew up to be mature enough to understand कि okay, yeah, this is also not bad. Some days I want to have rajma like that also. So people get very senti for their food, which I don't know it's a good thing or bad thing, but it exists, and sometimes it's too much. Ki, they become very defensive about their
Way
preference.
of
Huh,
I mean,
food.
food is a very objective thing, and if you're looking at it from a subjective, sorry, I misspoke. Food is a very subjective thing, and if you're looking at it from an objective lens, it's very difficult to say ki A is better than B. There is no such thing as it's not a exact science. There are lots of factors to it, like where you grew up, what you grew up eating, what are your preferences, allergies, whatever. So you cannot say that ABC is better than XYZ under every and each and every circumstance. You might eat that same thing with a different recipe and then you might love it. You might have grown up hating one thing and one day you will start falling in love with that food, which is very possible because anchoring bias is a very real thing that you get set in your own ways and you don't tend to change your views, and this applies to food as well कि बचपन में ये खाता था
Yeah.
मैं, सो मुझे ये जो चीज़ है ये ऐसे ही बना के ऐसे ही खाऊंगा मैं, इसमें कोई चेंजेस है तो आई नॉट ओनली दैट आई वोंट ईट इट, आई विल जज यू फॉर लाइकिंग इट.
That, yeah, I was just about to say that's pretty much the problem of the country right now, maybe, if I may say so, because that's also what happens for other things as well. I don't want to say much about that, but it is like that.
That's the next
I
episode.
want
Keep listening to us.
I I want it's that's the mentality of our country, that and sometimes some people, that I want something in a certain way, so you also have it like that. That is what is the problem. If you look at it, अगर ज़्यादातर दिक्कती ज़्यादातर जो problem हो ही रही है, where the peace and harmony is also getting lost, it's because of that, and it applies to food also, कि
yes.
मुझे ऐसा पसंद है इसलिए तुम भी खाओ. That is the problem. मतलब ठीक है, तुम्हें ऐसा पसंद है तुम खाओ, but why can't दोनों को जैसा पसंद है can coexist? That's the whole
Point.
that's
It's
the
a
whole
it's a
problem of
very good
yeah.
segue to actually what my next point was going to be, the concept of pure veg food. I mean, what in the hell is pure veg food? If you go outside India, anywhere in Western countries or
Yeah.
Eastern countries for that matter, there is veg food and there is meat. There is no such thing as pure veg
Yeah.
or non-veg. So this pure veg thing comes from a very religious, fundamentalistic view of vegetarian things being pure and non-veg things or meat being impure. कि मेरे खाने में अगर मीट चला गया so it will somehow become impure and it's very unfit for consumption. So that is where it comes from. So
That is also
I'd,
a point, but I think in general, considering, I mean, I would like to give some benefit of doubt. I'm not saying that pure impure in any which way it's going to be different, but I'm saying that I think it also implies many times when people are very particular about not having anything non-vegetarian, they are also, especially when they are having it outside, I think outside the restaurant, everywhere when it's written pure, so they also want to just imply that okay, the the bartan and everything are also not they're also kept separate and things like that. I think they also just want to emphasize more and more on the fact that आप यहाँ आके खा सकते हो, even if you are completely like vegetarian and do not like, so
no,
in
but
any
then
which way, like,
pure
so I think
pure
I
veg
think that's what they
pure
mean
veg
when they
restaurants,
say
when
pure
if
veg.
you're talking about pure veg restaurants, there is no question of keeping things separate because there is no meat served anyway. So if it's a veg restaurant, what does it mean by being a pure veg restaurant? What is the difference between veg
No,
and pure
not for
veg?
restaurant, but like for meal. I think whenever there is, like, when you are like on Zomato, sometimes there is something called in the description they give it like okay, it's purely vegetarian or something. So I think the pure के ऊपर emphasis शायद इसीलिए होता है, so that whoever is ordering, they can be, sometimes people don't want to order
Yeah,
from
but then
places
that's what
where
I'm saying. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. What is the difference? Definition level pay. What is the difference between veg and pure veg? And
So
what
that's a
does
different debate, but
what is
I'm just
impure
saying
veg?
that it's
What is
from
impure veg?
probably from marketing perspective to just emphasize. That's what I'm trying to say. I understand your point. I get your point. I'm only saying that it's just to sell people that who do not want to, like, because I know, coming from Bihar again, I know many such people who are very, like, who would not want to, even like, they are vegetarian, they would not go out and have meal somewhere जहाँ पे ये बिल्कुल इम्फेसाइज करके नहीं उनको समझा दिया जाएगा किचन के अंदर दिखा के कि ओके यहाँ पे बर्तन भी बहुत सेपरेट रखते हैं, सो पीपल आर वेरी लाइक,
Yes.
the whole
So
debate
that is the
goes back
point.
to the same thing that, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it
That is
goes
the
back to the
delicate
same thing.
point I want to
But
come
I
to,
think,
that why are people
ha,
doing
but
that?
I
What is the
think,
people's reason
yeah,
behind it?
I'm only trying to make you understand, or I'm only trying to say that the whole point of pure coming is to emphasize, and there is a need, and it's not people who are using the word pure who are at fault, people who need to hear the word pure, it's because of that, it's because of them that the word is existing. That's what I am, that's my point of view. I mean, because we are like that, people are very, like, very uh this thing about adamant about vegetarian, and I knew somebody back in college who used to get fever just by the smell of it. So I like, so I don't know, I mean when, if we, who are we to say, and I mean that's my point of view completely, that if we are saying that if somebody should not be judged by whatever they are eating, I mean, it might be little away from the point you are making. Your point is well taken, Pohe. I'm saying something different. I'm saying that sometimes people, when I used to feel that okay, this is so much of exaggeration, इतना भी क्या है, थोड़ा सा चिकन ही तो पास में बैठ के खा रहे, इतना भी क्या कि बुखार ही हो जा रहा है लोगों को. But I feel that it's other way around also. Sometimes people like, I mean, sometimes for some people who have never had, or who can never imagine having something like chicken or non-vegetarian, it is too much, and who are we to understand, like, they become very apprehensive and paranoid about certain things, right?
Haliti, let's come to the point where we were gonna discuss one food that we absolutely cannot stand on this planet Earth. So, Liti, go first.
Oh, I have so many, and I am such a weird creature, I have to say. Like for example, just like I said that I love sattu ka paratha, but I don't like. I'm not that fond of litti. Similarly, I absolutely love buttermilk, but I don't like curd. So
Why? How? It's
I
basically the same thing.
I have no clue. I just cannot, like, I've never had वो सुबह खिलाते हैं ना एग्जाम के पहले दही चीनी.
चीनी चीनी दही,
I
हाँ.
was like, दवाई की तरह खिलाओ और उसको पानी पी के छी, ऐसा सा बिल्कुल हो जाता था. Just the thought of it is
Making a
like,
skin crawl,
yeah. But I love buttermilk. I just love it. And I absolutely hate gobi.
like cabbage
Full
or
Yes,
gobi
full
or
the
gobi.
patta
full
gobi?
gobi, the full gobi
Flower,
thingy,
flower.
and even like all gobis, even patta gobi,
Why?
full
I
gobi.
love
I love
full gobi is
broccoli.
one of my favorite foods.
Yeah, so then you will not remain my favorite. So yeah, so I just
No,
want
no.
to say, I also
This
want to say
reminds
that I hate.
this this reminds me of 10 minutes back when we discussed that, almost as if food choices are subjective, not objective.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? I'm saying that even about gobi, I dislike it so much that, like, sometimes when I don't like people, I say that अरे दे क्या गोभी जैसी शक्ल लेके घूम रही है.
So that means that you wouldn't like veg momos then.
I've never had. I mean,
What?
never
You've
had.
never had veg
So I have
momo?
studied in Rishikesh. So I've studied in Rishikesh. So there it was like a thing, like we could not have chicken momos back then because
Uh-huh.
it was not allowed in the premises of the city.
Hmm.
So we had only veg momos. But whatever he put inside the momos, whatever it was definitely not gobi. So I can say that
Cabbage.
yeah.
So you
So
need to
Cabbage ही
that is
come
the
होता
to
है.
my
that's the
house.
Veg
only.
momo is cabbage only. What else can you possibly
You
put?
No, they
can put
can be so many things. They can be
people put so many things, especially in Delhi, paneer,
Nutella,
momo, and
Nutella,
हाँ
paneer.
soya and बहुत सारी चीजें they
Yeah.
put. But the original ones
Yes, but
obviously has
yes, but
cabbage.
then those are called paneer momos, not veg momos.
Yes.
Sorry.
Coming to the question now, Pohe, tell us, what is your most
Yeah,
hated food?
I'm racking my brain, and the first thing that comes to mind is Karela, the bitter gourd thing, which I don't know how people eat that because I used to have the same thing with alcohol that a kadwa cheese लोग कैसे पी लेते हैं, but then I got on board with that as I grew older. But for Karela, my parents, I remember they tried everything, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. They tried everything. They tried lying to me कि नहीं गुड़ के साथ कुक करेंगे तो कड़वापन चला जाता है and all that. Or they will
Oh
be
my
like,
God.
खाओ नहीं तो I'll beat you up. My mom used to threaten me. And they used to tell me a lot of stories कि it's in your mind, it's not actually kadwa. You're just thinking it is kadwa. Think it will be sweet, then you will
Gaslighting
eat it,
on
and then you will
another
feel
level.
like
Gaslighting.
so they
That is
tried
another level of
they
gaslighting.
they tried every trick in the book, but even in the last, I mean, 30 plus years of my life, I have grown to hate Karela even more. And second thing, trigger warning. This thing is going to be very triggering. Second thing is that malai that starts forming on a cup of chai as it starts to cool down. I hate
Ew.
that thing. If I eat it by
Me
mistake,
too.
I am going to. It is coming back up. It's not going down. It is coming back up if I eat it by mistake.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so Aviel, coming back to your original question, what is something
Yes.
that you cannot stand in terms of
I
food?
was
I mean,
Oh, well, if you had asked me the other question, I would have a long list of things, starting with people. I can't stand people. But
that's the next episode. Keep listening to us.
I'm sorry for all the people who have to hear Litty and me laughing at the top of our voices. But we're not very ladylike when we laugh, and we do not mind that at all. But when it comes to while you guys were actually answering the question, I was actually thinking, and actually, there's nothing. When I was a child, like I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of nakra and nakami, and I just realized I have been saying the word nakami a lot, and it's actually Bengali. So yeah, nakami means nakra. So when it comes to food, but now as I've grown older and I have started cooking on my own, I don't really have any food I have any problems with. Actually, I really love Karela, and my mom
Me too.
mom makes this
Is it a
thing
good
like
time to mention
rice.
that I hate you? Thank you.
Going back to
Which,
the same point that we do not have tolerance
and it is subjective and not objective. But I really think. But coming back again, I digress. I don't really have any foods that I absolutely hate, where I'm like, oh my god, I can't touch this thing. But more recently, uh, I don't know, my mom has started having this obsession with putta, which is breakfast item in Kerala, and it is made out of rice powder with a filling of sugar and coconut, and it's mostly eaten with chane ka curry, or it is eaten with non-vegetarian curries like chicken or beef, or things like that. And or stews, actually potato stews, or egg curry, egg stew, and it's really nice and tasty. Or the most basic way of eating puttu is with papad, and payam, which is a banana. Sorry, my brain is not braining in one language right now. Uh, banana and a little bit of sugar. That is the most basic way of eating it. And my mom has started having this obsession with it that almost every other day she's making it, because if you eat puttu on its own, for me it feels like you are having cardboard, because it's so dry. It is so freaking dry, honestly. And people who have eaten puttu know this. And I'm sorry if you love puttu, but no, absolutely no.
I would like to get cancelled by saying the same about Italy, but okay, go ahead.
Idli?
Idli, then you need to have good idli. Probably you've not eaten good idli.
No, but then idli is as good as the chutney and sambar it is served with. So
Idli, like my mom makes really amazing idlis, as she calls it, and I have told you this pohe before. Poo pole idli is what she tells me. Ki poo pole olla idli kaikya, which means that the idlis are so soft that they are like flowers. Uh, and they actually are really nice and soft. And I have a very weird habit कि मैं अलग से करी खाती हूँ और अलग से डोसा इडली खाती हूँ. मतलब मिक्स करने में मुझे उतना अच्छा नहीं लगता है.
Me
And
too,
yeah,
me too, me too.
yeah, and I don't like my foods like, touching
So
each
much.
other.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I'm very, like, if you guys have watched Monk, the series, you know what I'm talking about. I am very particular that way. And yeah, coming back. But if you give me puttu today and be like, okay, eat it, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, ew, I can't eat this. No, it's just because of the circumstances that I do not like it right now. But yeah, coming to think of it, there is not any food that I eat on a daily basis, or like we eat on a daily basis, that I have a problem with. Or I would be like, ew, I can't eat this. I'm fine.
I love how passionately Avial went on to talk how much she hates put and then concluded that there is absolutely nothing she
par- party badal liya sala.
now I'm thinking that she's actually Alu,
Yes, I was coming
like
to that
Nitish
point.
Kumar.
I am very, again, touching upon a nerve that Pohe absolutely hates when Litty and I go into this point, that I'm a very true Piscean in that sense, because I am, and I have to tell listeners that Pohe is face palming right now, because we've come into the territory of astrology, which he feels doesn't
No,
exist.
plug in for next episode. Pohe, you have to say.
You have to say, you have to
If you
say.
like if you like fireworks coming out of your listening devices, tune into the next episode, listeners.
Okay, so now coming to the part which is going to be a regular part of every episode of ours, is that every at the end of every episode, we would be recommending a book or a movie.
Okay, so talking so much about food, the only the movie that is coming to my mind right now, and it's a good movie. It's called The Great Indian Kitchen. It's there on Amazon Prime Video. You can watch it. It's a very nice movie where a woman is stuck into the expectations the family has of how she has to like wake up and cook and do the household chores and all of that, and how she tries to deal with that situation. It also touches little bit about the Sabrimala thing that the movie touches, and it will you watch that movie and it will leave you thinking about many things. I will not give it away. I would suggest our listeners to definitely watch this one. You would really love this one. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Letty. It's a very hard-hitting movie actually, and it's very disturbing, is all I would say. And without giving much away, for my recommendation, I'm staying with the same language, which is the Malayalam language, and I'm going slight left field. The movie I'm recommending is not about food, but food visually plays a very good part in a very major part in the movie, because the opening sequence, the opening credit has like a 10-minute shot of different foods being cooked across the city of Angamali, which is in Kerala. The movie name is Angamali Diaries, and it's the movie itself is a very different topic. It's about gang wars and upcoming uh, gundas of the town and all that. But the food part is sprinkled in between, especially if you're a meat lover, if you like chicken and mutton and beef and everything, then you will find it very nice. And just one thing, don't watch the movie empty with an empty stomach. You'll be horribly hungry afterwards. So either watch it while you're eating the food or after you have had your lunch or dinner. That's the only precaution, I would say.
Okay, I'm really happy that the movies that were suggested were from the Malayalam industry, and the Malayali in me is very happy. And I would also suggest a Malayalam movie, and I guess it is one of the commercially famous movies, and a movie that most people would know, which is Ustad Hotel, and it is one of the first movies in which Dulquer Salman was there, and it was one of his first hits. And if you've not already watched it, you should know that it is about this rich brat, and he's returned from abroad, and he's trying to find his way through adult life, and reality hits him hard, and his dad wants to make him see the realities of life, and how he goes to his grandfather and helps him with his hotel. And again, like Pohe said, if you want to watch the movie, you should watch the movie with a full stomach, because there's a lot of biryani in it, and it is absolutely really amazing, so much so that almost you feel like you can smell the biryani while they make it. And
and
yeah.
and and our very own DQ is also looking like a snack. So you will definitely feel hungry.
Oh,
So
well, for to all
that's
the people who are
that
great fans of DQ.
that's 3 out of 3 Mallu movies that have been suggested. So anyone from the Kerala film industry is listening to this podcast, we are looking for sponsors. Thanks.
I love the plugins that we have very organically. So that's about it. I feel it was a pretty fun first episode. Would you two want to add anything more?
Yeah, I feel that it was like this was our first time, talking to each other in a way that we know that other people are also gonna listen to this.
And it went across well. I hope so.
I would like our listeners to, write down in the comments what is their favorite food or their favorite food memory, as we have discussed, and also the food they can't stand. And if they have watched any of the movies we have recommended, they can also talk about their reviews of the movies. So do let us know in the comments whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly. We are going to read all of your comments. So looking forward to that interaction.
And that's a wrap for today. But don't worry, spicy avial,
Smoky litti.
And Tangy Pohe will be back with another episode soon. In the meantime,
Tell your friends about this podcast because it looks like
you're officially part of the ALP crew now. No turning back.